Yeah, so sorry, I had my site on mute there. You were all good.
Oh, I'm always good.
Right, I'm sure. Today, I believe we're going to be having Aaron Berk join us here in a minute. I just received a coin from him and have yet to open it, so let's get into that. So we have a Thessaly Larissa 350 to 340 BC, a dram, 5.93 grams. Double signed by artist. Head of Larissa facing slightly left with IA above head. On the reverse, we have a horse preparing to roll, and AI, the signature below the stomach. Again, I believe with Larissa in Exburg. And so this coin is from Larissa, and that's kind of right below, or to the a little to the east and south of Macedonia. And they're famous for their horses, and I mean that's one of the things that Alexander the Great and his conquest was famous for, I think, was his horses. So I don't know. I know they came down and kind of took over this area, but that was a little after this coin was minted. Here's Aaron. Let's bring him up in here. Aaron, good to see
But nobody, you didn't get a letter or nothing, right?
No.
Can you hear me?
I got to do an online call now.
1 second while we get our volume here.
A live meeting.
Yeah, so sorry, I had my site on mute there. You were all good.
Oh, I'm always good.
Right, I'm sure. Okay, well, I just actually opened this coin up for the first time here and looking at it, and I was just saying I'm always impressed that I thought it might be a bit rougher from your pictures, but it really is actually quite clean.
Well, we had a video of it, right?
Yeah, no, I mean, it definitely sold me, but for some reason I'm always impressed when I get them in my hand. They're not overdone, I guess is what I'm saying in your
I get it
in your videos. So yeah, I couldn't. There's a few things there. Is this have any relation to the Arethusa coin? Like, was this influenced by
no,
that? Or
in a way, yes, but it's possible. But they're made relatively close to the same time period. But that's a water nymph, which is same as the Syracuse piece, but a lot of the facing heads had that same look.
okay,
But they're underwater, so their hair is flowing.
okay, I didn't realize this one was supposed to be a water nymph as well. Okay, okay. And so, was there a close enough relationship there, or
No, I think they're different. You have different gods and goddesses for different.
Okay.
It's just the that's who the city worshipped, and so that's what they put on their coins.
So they probably had a lot of statues and whatnot of this same, because I noticed with some of the other examples of this coin, this one appeared to me more to have that underwater flowing hair look, where a lot of the other ones are just kind of curly looking.
Yeah, there's a lot of different dyes. My father actually, probably about 20 years ago, 25 years ago, he tried to collect Larissa by dye, and he had to give up because it was impossible. And at one point, we probably had about 250 different dyes issues.
Okay.
We had a double row box, so double row box is like, here I have a double row box here.
Hey, William E. Good to see you, Southeast.
This is a double row. This is a double row box. We had an entire double row box full of Larissas, all different dyes.
Wow.
So he stopped because it just was impossible. He couldn't do it. and they're also signed. A lot of them there are signed dies. You'll have like the letters of the engraver.
Yeah.
On the horse, or there you can see it under the horse there. That's the actual signature of the engraver.
Yeah, that AI right there, guys. That, and then I was really
for a signed die. A lot of the signed Syracusan pieces are very, very expensive. Larissa in general is pretty inexpensive for the type, and one, it's because it's so plentiful in the market, and not as popular as, say, Sicilian coins are. Even though I think the artwork is very comparable.
Okay. Yeah, so there's an A and an I, and I thought they did a really good job of kind of blending it with the artwork as well.
Yeah, so that's double signed on both sides, which is also something that happens so there might be some relationship there with the Syracusan coins, because they also were signed.
So do you find, like, would I be able to find another Larissa coin with AI, like the same signature on another, quite a few of the same? Yep. Okay. Very cool.
Absolutely.
So it might be
possible. Also one with Sigma. It's 4-letter signed. You'll get that sometimes. Yeah, there's a couple really. That's a really nice die because you get the nice 3/4 view. There's some that are a little bit more realistic. That one has a nice realistic view to it. There's some that are very crude that don't have the same, die quality, artistically speaking, that this one has, and some of the other ones have. There's even some that actually have like part of the shoulders, her shoulders, and design on them, which is pretty cool.
Wow, yeah, I was impressed with the overall artwork. Just I thought on both sides, especially the horses, I thought it was quite well proportionalized, and I have been around horses, and that's a very true look to before they go to roll like that. So
sure,
I thought that was
sure. There, a lot of coins are showing. Well, Larissa obviously was good at training and breeding horses, and so that was a big part of their economy, and so they put it on their coins, and then showing like everyday views of people or doing things in agriculture or whatever the case might be was also important to show as because you got to remember, ancient coins were propaganda for the cities, and so that's how they got their history across. And that's why it's always strange to me when a source country says, "Oh, that's our coin, we want it back." That coin was actually issued to trade outside of their boundaries. And so to say that they own it because when the ancients actually produced it, it was made to move. It was made to travel. It wasn't made to be like, oh, I got to have that back. So, and that's where coins differ from antiquities. Most antiquities are actually, even in ancient times, antiquities did travel, because you had source countries at the time that produced certain types of pottery or oil lamp that then would get exported out. So it's not that antiquities were indigenous to a region, but the problem is you can't make an argument between a facade of a building and an actual antiquity. They're all antiquities, and so it's very difficult to then decide to write laws or regulations for one antiquity over another antiquity. So it makes it hard. But for coins, they were mass produced. They were made to travel. In some cases, like in Athens, we now know that the Athenian tetragram with the Athene on one side and the owl on the other was actually issued in all different cities throughout the ancient world. So if you had a lot of silver, you would issue a coin that looked like the coins of Athens, because most people were illiterate, but they knew imagery. And so if you had silver that looked like the official coins, then they were accepted.
Well, that's even, and I hear you on the level you're talking to, but you know, when I first got into them, that was kind of one of the things that I was saying, or at least intrigued me, was I felt like they had speech without even being necessarily able to read. Like so, this right here has a few little.
Here, go back to your. I can't see your.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, thanks. Oh man, here we go. Yeah, so like with this one, it has a couple little.
Yeah, who cares?
Pock marks there, but
you know what? You know what? Even though I don't play golf anymore, when I did play golf, I would say nobody's golf game is 100% all on. You either have your putting going, but your drives suck, or your drives and your putts are great, but your irons are crappy, and so nobody ever has it all together. And so ancient coins are kind of the same thing. You don't. It's very tough to get it all together. You're going to have a centering issue. You're going to have a mark. You might have a test cut. You might have crappy dies. Surface issues on one side or the other. It's very difficult to get a perfect coin on both sides.
Now, since we're back on this a little bit, is it rare to get it signed by the same artist on both sides? Is it rare to have both sides signed? Like,
I think signed dies in general are a scarcity. Yeah. Having them double signed is even better.
And I've also heard, like, sometimes one die cutter will work on one side and different on the other.
It's true. They did the same thing in Greek vases. So, because you got to remember, in producing ancient art, they all had functional uses. So there was workshops. So in ancient Greek vases from the 4th century BC, they would have the master do the front side or the main side, and they would have apprentices do the back side. So you always have like less artwork on the back side than you do on the front. Coins are a little bit different. I think they always had great artists on both sides doing the work. With vases, it was a little bit different because they didn't care much, because most Greek vases were, functionally being used, unless they were primarily made for funerary purposes. And so they would pump them out. And so you literally have, sometimes the master would do both sides if it was a really important vase, but generally speaking, the master would do one side, apprentices do the other side. Big drop off between the front and the back.
Yeah, I've seen that for sure on some of the coins.
So I think coins, they did play an important side, both sides, because it was really a representation of the city or the emperor. And so depending on the time period and all that, and what was important, I mean, look, like the Aegina turtle, they just had an incus on the reverse. So there wasn't a whole lot of importance played on the reverse of the coin, and that was just the style. A lot of archaic Greek coins are just incused on the reverse.
Yeah. However, there's for some reason there's some very cool looking incus that.
Yeah, they were stylistically made that point.
I really enjoying your lots that you had in this one.
Yeah, like that one here, that's a double signed right there. The signed one right there to the left. The one for 9,000 that sold. I believe that's double signed.
Oh, okay. Let's see if I can. Where are we looking? Somewhere.
So see underneath the head and underneath the quadriga on the other side.
Oh yeah, okay. Oh, see that. Well, that's good info, because I was wondering, like, how do you know that that's a signature? But that's kind of common, just the 2 letters like that.
Yep. Yeah, so that's double signed.
And that's by the same artist?
Yeah, same artist on both sides.
Yep. Okay.
But there's an issue of this type that has 2 separate artists as well.
Okay. Okay, very cool. Now, this decadram here for 47,000. I know it's way over my head here, but you're actually saying this is a pretty good deal for this coin. I know it's really dark, but I mean it's a very nice coin.
Yeah, you can go to the video.
And so with this type of finish, what do you call it? Really toned? What do you say?
Yeah, it's just toned. Your
Yeah.
silver tones like anything else. It's just dark toning. It's also the way the coin was buried, and the sediment that was probably on it at one time.
Okay.
Most people think of the head side first, but on most Sicilian coins, the obverse is the quadriga side. So the reverse is the head side. So it's a little bit swapped. And the
Yeah.
reason is because horse racing was extremely important in the Greek period. And so that's actually the reverse of the coin, and the quadriga side is the obverse of the coin. So it's a little bit of a swap.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
And there's only two artists that did this. That was Euenetos and Kimon. This is a Euenetos type. They're signed and unsigned dies. This is a signed die.
Oh, this is
And
where is
and
this? Where's
they
this?
were primarily made for collectability. They weren't spent, and so they actually put the dies away and then came back 20 years later and restruck them with rusty dies, and so you get a lot of pit marks on them and things like that. That one might be from
Rusty?
from the rusted die. Yeah.
Yeah. But that's still nice quality though, even so.
Yeah. And we know these were very popular in ancient times because there's so many that survived, which means people kept them.
So is this his signature up here somewhere?
No, that's the name of the city.
Okay.
It's on the dolphin right there on the bottom.
Okay.
Under her neck.
Okay.
Right in there. It's just hard to see.
Okay.
It's on the dolphin itself, and it would just be 4 letters.
Okay.
And some of these dies are triple signed. There's the Kimon ones. There's a triple signed Kimon, which is got one on the there's a headband. We'll say KI. There'll be one on the dolphin, and then there's one on the quadriga side. So sometimes they're triple signed, which are really rare and very expensive.
Okay. And boy, this was a pretty one I liked too.
Yeah, so that's the Arethusa side that shows her underwater with the hair flowing up. That's a very popular type for that reason.
Very pretty coin for sure. Nice dolphin as well.
Yep.
Some of the dolphins are not.
See how it kind of like has that like ridge at the top that's like almost. Yep. So I once went to the British Museum and studied these with an academic who knew about this. And sometimes you'll see the little circle indentation on the obverse or reverse of the coin. And the idea is that these were actually the way that they struck them was in a corkscrew method that would actually, when they struck the coin, it would like turn and get a higher struck up coin. And so sometimes you see the evidence of that corkscrew in the metal itself.
Yeah, I've noticed that.
That is. And so sometimes we know if a coin is fake based on the fact of how the coin looks and how the metal flowed.
Okay, very cool.